Winston appeared on a program called Religious Hard Talk, with host, Ian Boyne, and a former Jehovah's Witness on television Jamaica, TVJ, recently. He did a recording of the show when it was aired the second time around. Unfortunately, he missed the opening minutes, and the specs on his computer are below par, so the quality is substandard. He apologizes for the poor quality. This is an edited version.
What have been the effects of this shunning on people's lives? Because you would know witnesses who have gone through this. While you were a witness, there were people who were disfellowshipped, who were put out, who left, who rejected the organization. You saw what happened to them. How does this affect people psychologically, mentally?
It tears them down. Because just last year, I knew a brother that was disfellowship, and when meeting is over, that's normal, he just leaves.
Yeah.
He ensured that...
Because one, it's important, they are curiously allowed to attend the meetings.
Yeah, man, they can
come to the meetings, but nobody talks to them. Nobody. So they sit down, nobody says good evening, nobody says good morning. When they just leave by themselves, they can't be engaged in conversation.
None whatsoever.
They can come to hear the word to save their souls, to come back into Jehovah's one and only true organization. But they can't have any discussion at all.
None whatsoever.
You were telling us about his brother, you said, yeah.
Yeah, man, he would time his arrival at the meeting to come as it starts.
Yes.
That everybody was seated. And as the meetings finish and they say amen. Sometime before they say amen, he will be making his way out. Just to leave.
Yes.
Because he knows that brothers will be around him, but they cannot communicate with him. They cannot speak to him. Friends that he had, friends just can't speak to them any at all.
How have you managed this, Courtney? The fact that people whom you have known, because shortly you will tell us about the high levels of dedication you showed as a witness. In fact, you were a ministerial servant.
Yes.
And a ministerial servant is a person whose rank is just below the elder.
Yes.
So that's a high-ranking person in the Jehovah's Witness organization, ministerial servants. You were a ministerial servant. You were very active. You were intense. So therefore, you had a number of friends.
Quite a number.
There. How have you managed now that none of these persons will even say hello to you?
Well, me managing now is really phenomenal, because thinking about leaving, that was one of the things that I worried most about.
That you worried most about?
Not having any of my friends to talk to. But what saved me at work, I have a strong support system.
Oh.
So I didn't shy away myself from people at work. I spoke to them still.
Even though the witnesses encourage people not to have association with people in the world.
True, true, true. But I saw people at work as being good association.
They were good association.
They were Christians like myself. We had Bible discussions.
No, but you didn't believe when you were a witness that they were true Christians. Because as a witness, you would have to believe that you were the only true Christians were to be found among Jehovah's Witnesses. That's the teaching.
Even though that was my belief, I always held the belief that God will have mercy upon who will have mercy.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are spread about in various churches.
Okay, yeah.
You most can look and see that this man
That's
was...
not Jehovah's Witness belief, though, yes.
Yeah, but that was my belief. That's what I even teach in the ministry, that God will have mercy upon who will have mercy.
Okay.
So even though we are the truth, he will see people that were really trying to serve him that ended up other places.
Okay.
So I still, I still engage persons at work, persons in my neighborhood. So I still had that support system when I left.
Had some people, yes.
Yeah, man, a lot of persons, and they tolerated me talking about the issue over and over again. They tolerated
So had you been like many Jehovah's Witnesses who largely dissociated themselves from others in the world, it would be more traumatic for you.
Yeah, man, it would have been devastating.
Former Jehovah's Witness COURTNEY THOMAS telling us about what it is like to be a Jehovah's Witness and what it is like to have been thrust out of the organization or to leave. It's not easy. It's not just a matter of leaving and you have your friends talking to you or even your mother and your father inviting you over. If you leave, you're not going to be invited over to any dinner. They're not going to be calling you. It's a total disruption. The Jehovah's Witnesses organization unveiled this evening on Religious Hard Talk. I managed to pull off the very difficult task of having a former Jehovah's Witness speak. I mean, I tried to have him get other witnesses who had left, other ex-witnesses, and no, they're not coming at all. They are not going to risk any further wrath of their brethren and their families. They know that now people don't talk to them, but they don't want the resentment and the bitterness piled on it. I have a number of friends in the Jehovah's Witnesses movement also. They are very angry with me tonight. Of course, they're not watching at all, you know, and they will tell me that they didn't watch that because this is just idle jesting. But their friends will tell them that it is on, and, you know, they will probably cuss me, but I have to do my job as a journalist. Tell us about your life as a Jehovah's Witness. What attracted you to the Jehovah's Witness movement, to the Watchtower Society?
Well, first of all, the witnesses have been around my family for years, from I was a baby. They even joke that while studying with mommy, I must have been absorbing all the teachings. Because she, the truth, because she never got baptized. We got baptized before her.
You got baptized even before your mother?
Yeah, man, right before her, in 2008. So they always said that I was the one taking the teaching. So after leaving high school, well, during high school, I used to study with the witnesses, because at high school I was known as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Because at devotion,
like St. Hilda's girl there. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I didn't take part in devotion. I wasn't baptized.
Yeah, but you didn't take part in.
But we were associated, so some of the teachings were a part of your psyche, you know. So you start to
associate Babylon's
false teachings.
False teachings and
stay away from devotion and those stuff.
Yeah.
After leaving high school, wanting now to settle down with God, as it were.
Yes.
The witnesses were like my first option.
Oh, yes.
So in the community, they come very regularly to study with you.
Yes.
So, and they were already studying with me. So I just made that step and got baptized.
Yes, yes. And how dedicated a witness were you? Were you a joker, or you a lukewarm witness, or you were a serious witness?
Well, at first, I'd like to take things seriously. So serving God is something that one would probably put serious more than anything else.
Okay.
So serving being one of Jehovah's Witnesses was something very serious to me.
Okay.
So meeting attendance, I can count on 4 fingers. From I got baptized in 2008 to when I disassociated myself last year November, also how much meetings I have ever missed. That is Sunday and during the week meetings.
The 3 evenings?
Yeah, I don't miss
I probably
meetings.
only 4.
I can count on 4 fingers.
From 2008 to 2014, you ever miss?
I don't miss meetings. I don't say.
Because you know, not just Sunday you go.
During
you go book study.
Yeah, man.
You go Theocratic Ministry School.
Yeah, man.
Dedicated.
Very dedicated.
In addition, you spend a whole lot of time on the road, in the field service, as it's called among Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, man. I
passing out magazines.
Yeah, I served as auxiliary pioneer, served as a regular pioneer for a year and a few months. Preaching was something that I enjoyed.
You enjoyed it?
Because remember, you have the truth.
You have the truth.
Yeah, man.
Everybody is in error.
Yes, so you want
the only truth,
you want to bring it to them. You want to enlighten their darkness.
That's right. Yes.
You want to teach them that God has a purpose, God has a plan for you. So that was something exciting for me.
Yes.
Just the other day, I saw some brothers passing where I live in a van, heading into the territory. And it brought back memories.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it brought memories of us doing field service and we finish at River River. We go to somebody's house and we relax and stuff. But it was a joyous occasion to go and preach to people.
Yes. And you even did some work at Marlymount, which is the
well, Marlymount is like the head office.
Head office.
Jamaica branch. They have the Bethel section, I have the Assembly House section. I mostly focus on working at the Assembly section. For several years, from I was baptized, went down there, you have stuff to do like landscaping, painting, a whole host of work. On Saturdays, instead of staying at work and doing overtime, I'm down by Marlymount.
You give up your overtime?
Yeah, man, I'm down by, I tell them something I want overtime. I'm down by Marlymount, working.
For Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, man, you're working for the only true God.
The only true God.
So you want to give him your best.
That's right. And then you became a ministerial servant.
Yeah, man, I became a ministerial servant.
Big thing among in the organization, in Jehovah's theocratic organization.
Yes.
And you were doing well. But then you kind of buck your toe a little bit.
Yeah, man, I was placed on private reproof.
Private reproof.
Back in 2011. 2011. Spent a few months on restrictions, like I couldn't comment at the meetings.
Yes.
I couldn't give the student talks at theocratic mission school. I couldn't lead up the group in service, but I could go field service. I couldn't comment at the meetings, but I could still prepare, and I still didn't miss any meetings.
Yes.
You
still went.
Yeah, the reproof was something I accepted, and
yes,
it was a part of, they say, God, who he loves.
Disciplines.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
so,
yes. So you accept it
as
your discipline.
I still went on and come to the meetings fervent.
Still zealous.
Yeah, man. So that didn't slow me down.
Didn't slow you down at all.
I was on fire that time, because I don't want to slow. I don't want to get. Right. I don't want to get cool.
That's right. You want to cool off. Yes. But during that time, you began to question some things. We had to check out some things.
Yes. During that time, I was very interested in finding out how soon I would be off the
private reproof.
Private reproof. Because brothers kept saying to me, you're not serving, man. It's a hard work, down by Parliament, Assembly Hall, still convention. How comes you're not serving?
Yes.
So I say, no, sir, they're on a little private reproof, and my elders tell me that it will be taking me about 3 years before I can serve again as a ministerial servant.
So long they put you on? 3 years of private reproof?
Yes, I accepted that, because after a few months, I had got back some of my privileges.
Okay.
I could comment again, I could give student talks.
Oh, you got back some privileges?
Yeah, man, within months.
Within months, okay.
Within months, in 2012, I got back some privileges.
The man, them seal zeal.
Yeah, man, and I got back a lot of my responsibilities.
Okay.
Some that were even should be given to me if I was a ministerial servant. Okay. But I got them back because I was putting in the work. Okay. Very hard-working young man. So yes. My elders kind of, they were always wanting to give me things to do. Yes. Because I'm in training, as it were. So, brothers keep saying to me, "Who you're not serving?" So when I told them the 3 years, some of them said, "What 3 years?" They don't know about that. Some said, "Why, I saw 1 year." So there were a lot of differences in their interpretation of how long the reproof should be.
I see.
So that got me thinking. I was like, is it that my elders
are not following the rules?
Are not following, because I love to go by the rules.
By the rules,
yeah,
yes.
Man. Organized to do Jehovah's will. I love to go by the rules. But nothing was in it about any duration of time. So I started to question the elders. And one circuit overseer told me about a specific form that had only 3 years on it. So I wanted to see the form for myself. Okay. And when that wasn't presented to me, I said, no, I'm going to go online, go search for it.
Internet. Yes.
So I went on the net. After several searches, I found the form, but in looking for the form, I stumbled upon some videos.
Hey.
Videos about like 5 things Jehovah's Witnesses don't want you to know. Raymond Franz.
Raymond Franz, yeah, Crisis of Conscience.
Yes, some videos on YouTube.
Yes.
And I watched a few of them videos that...
You're not supposed to do as a Jehovah's Witness.
What?
That's another thing people need to know. As a Jehovah's Witness, you are not supposed to read apostate literature. You are warned. Once a person is writing against Jehovah's organization, you must not read the material.
True, that's a warning that we get very...
But you are curious.
Often. Curious and a bit confident that what I have right now, it is the truth.
Oh, okay.
So no...
They can't touch you, they can't move you.
No, man, nothing that is said
could ever move you.
In opposition to this.
I see.
Should be able to contest the truth.
I see, so you're confident.
The truth is the truth.
So you go and go watch the thing now.
I want to tell you that a month before I got baptized, I got a book from a co-worker about the witnesses, bashing the witnesses. Oh. And I read it from cover to cover.
Never stop you from being baptized.
Stop me. Still got baptized. I looked at that as Satan.
Satan, yes, Satan.
Yeah, man.
Trying to throw you
off. That was Satan in his last attempt.
Yes.
To get me to stop.
Not to symbolize your dedication to Jehovah.
Man, I looked at that as Satan's last attempt.
So you went at these videos now and said, sure, you match that.
Yeah, man, I watched them. The information never took root.
Oh, you want to take...
Why?
Okay.
My main aim was to find that form.
The form, yes.
To look, to see if it was really 3 years.
Yes.
that I needed to wait before I can serve
You
again.
didn't find that 3-year thing?
I found a form, but it was outdated.
Okay. All right.
So I couldn't use it as any evidence to say why you said this to me.
Okay. All right. So what else happened? Because obviously a crack came.
Yeah, man, a crack did come.
What?
2014, November. I was courting the sister, and she began speaking to me about some things that I had listened in some of the videos, and I saw in the videos that I came across about false prophecies, secret publications.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't get to mention this, sir, boy. Back in 2011, during the Judicial Committee meeting,
Yes.
one of the elders, had a book, and then I saw it and asked him what type of book that was. You know what I'm saying to me? I'm saying too fast.
That was a book produced by the society, Watchtower Society.
But it was for only elders.
Only elders alone.
That elder made a mistake and let me see the book.
You see the book?
Yeah, man. And my curiosity was justified in the fact that then I was serving as the...
Ministry also.
No, not... Yeah, yes, minister servant. I was a literature servant.
Okay.
So I ordered the publications for both congregations. So when I saw a book that looked unfamiliar to me, I was like, is this a book I need to order?
Was that the Shepherd in God's Flock?
Yeah, man, Shepherd the Flock of God's book.
Yeah.
That elder's secret manual.
Yes.
Saw it, remember the cover and everything, and I asked him whatever it was, and he said something too fast. And he quickly pushed it in his bag.
Only for elders.
Yeah, man, only for elders. It wasn't until...
Not for you dumb
That
sheep.
was 2012, 2013. 3 years after, I learned what that book was about. Because I left it. I mean, in summer too fast, we were handling a very delicate matter at that point in time.
Yes.
So I didn't question it. It wasn't until 3 years after I saw that book online and found out what it really was. That it was a secret manual that the elders kept hidden from the sheep.
Why? Why they would do that?
Well, there's 2 passages in that book that I think the authorities would want to look at and try to question to see what the motives of the elders are as it relates to child abuse. Not reporting it.
That's a major thing we have not mentioned. You have introduced it now. And many people might not know that there have been many cases of child abuse among Jehovah's Witnesses. Just recently, there was a major commission in Australia where some shocking revelations were made.
Very shocking.
About abuse of children by elders, knowledge by the elders of abuse in the congregations, nothing done. The authorities have not been called in. In the U.S., there's been a major scandal after scandal among the Jehovah's Witnesses. People only think about the
Catholics.
pedophilia crisis in the Roman Catholic Church, but it is also a major problem in the Jehovah's Witnesses because the witnesses hold the view that you must protect the organization.
And you must not take it to brother to court.
You must not take it to court, yes. So you were mentioning that. So you're the person you were dating.
Yes.
Began to mention these things to you. That
And little did she know that I had already been
exposed
to some of those stuff, but it didn't take any root. As I said, my deal at that point was to find that form and just see what it says.
Yes.
So years after, those things came back to me, and being the honest person that I am, I looked into it. Not to leave the organization, but to prove her and many others that the information that they have been seeing is fraudulent, fabricated. Persons they don't like God's people and just want to throw things at us and, discredit everything they want to pick at us. They don't like God people. So I was determined to prove to them that
wrong.
Man, these things are fabricated.
I see.
Cook them, cook it up. Yeah, man, cook them, cook it up.
So you went online, began to do your research.
Yes.
And realized that these things were indeed so.
To my shock, I remember, Sir Bowen, when the first thing that came to me, as I said, when I saw about the Elders book, and I started to watch some clips about the child molestation, and I noticed that there were clips from CNN, BBC, ABC, NBC,
that were documenting the child abuse
MSN,
crisis.
all these legitimate news stations
Organizations, precisely.
carrying these news stories. So
Yes.
apostates fabricating news.
Yes.
So that was a cause for me to look at and say, these news clips are not fabricated. And if there were, the witnesses could sue these organizations.
Yes.
They could sue them.
These things were out in the public domain. Courtney Thomas will continue to talk to us about the child abuse, the sexual abuse scandal, crisis among Jehovah's Witnesses. In October, there was a big commission in Australia which unveiled some really shocking information. There have been other cases in North America. He will also be joined by the man who is behind the Watchtower examination blog online, who has done a lot of research on Jehovah's Witnesses, Winston Gillian. This is really just hard talk, looking at Jehovah's Witnesses. Winston Gillian has been studying the movement. He's a Seventh-day Adventist, and he has a number of videos online under the Watchtower examination blog. He's spending a lot of time in touch with people. There are people leaving the movement because of the work that he has done. We're going to bring him in. But former Jehovah's Witness Courtney Thomas will just wrap up on what you were saying. So you were saying that no, you start to see that legitimate news organizations, CNN, BBC, MSNBC, and so on, had indeed been carrying stories about
For years,
child sexual abuse scandals. And you never know that in Jamaica here?
To tell you, back in 2014, we had an annual general meeting, and one of the governing body members spoke to maintaining unity within the organization and spoke of the, how did he put it? The apostate-driven lies.
As an example, think about the apostate-driven lies and dishonesties that Jehovah's organization is permissive toward pedophiles. I mean, that is ridiculous, isn't it? If anybody takes action against someone who would threaten our young ones and takes action to protect our young ones, it's Jehovah's organization. We reject outright such lies.
So hearing that, you get the impression that, I mean, if any such case come up, it will be dealt with firmly. And to see the news saying otherwise, I was very shocked.
It first to witness, I must say they have recently published information where they have said that they will encourage people to report. Well, they have now said, and you, both of you can comment and clarify if I'm wrong. But it seems that all of this negative reporting has certainly forced their hand. And now they have been saying that, you know, if members go to the police or the authorities, that action won't be taken against them. Is that so? Am I misunderstanding the issue? Certainly, what their emphasis has been is on not embarrassing the organization. The fact of the matter is that the witnesses have been more concerned about protecting the name of Jehovah's organization. And they feel that these allegations will, they know, will affect the reputation of the organization.
Seriously, it would. And the thing about the allegations that I would like to emphasize is the handling.
So
it's not that the fact that it exists.
Yes.
Because, I mean,
sin in all churches.
Yes, sin is all abound.
Yes.
And people fall short of the glory of God at times. But how it is handled by the congregation.
How is it handled?
When it is not reported, you know, a child who has been molested doesn't get the opportunity to get the needed counseling to kind of reintegrate themselves into society.
Yes.
That brother that does the molestation or the sister that does the molestation, the elders, if that person is deemed repentant,
still there.
Yeah, man, they are given a slap on the wrist.
Yes.
and they remain in the congregation, they are put on private or public reproof, like I was on.
Yeah.
So they're in the congregation still. That child
Still there and still have to...
still has to share the congregation with that person, whether he's sitting in front, behind, or beside.
Yeah.
So that trauma
is still
exists
there,
still. I'll give you a joke. I confronted my brother recently. He's an elder in Portland.
Your blood brother?
Yeah, man.
He's an elder in the...
He speaks to me, but on not as
May I get him in trouble, you know? He's not supposed to speak, you know?
Well, I hope to get him in trouble.
But he's not supposed to speak to you
not
at all.
Speak to me. On then family matters, strict family matters, business.
Business, that's right. That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah, man. So I gave him a scenario. I said to him, but what if a brother X molests a child? And the elders find out, they confront him, he admits it, but he's repentant.
Yes.
He's given reproof. He's given
go to the police, yeah.
No, man, I should, but I'm just, how they handle it. That brother is still in the congregation. He still there and can reoffend.
Yes.
I asked him, how do you protect the thousands of children in the communities that these witnesses preach?
Yes.
How do you protect the remaining children that are in the congregation?
Yes.
Is it that you have probably a system where one of you travel with him up and down to see if he is trying anything? Do you walk with him, have a device in his back pocket, his top pocket, to ensure that he is not planning to reoffend or gets the opportunity to reoffend? I even said to him that, what if that brother decides to stop at her sister's daughter's school to pick up that child? Why would that child refuse to go with him in the car? That child doesn't know anything, you know, because the elders and the parents of the child who was molested are the ones who are privy to that information. So the other parents in the congregation are not given the opportunity to protect their children from this person.
Yes.
How do you prevent him from reoffending? You know what his wife said to me, because she was there listening, that I am a demon. I need to become a lawyer. My brother said, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And my mother was right there. And I turned to her and I'm like, Mom. I said, Mr. Mom, you hear what I said to him a while ago? What wrong with him, I said to him?
Yes.
And she was there, she no business with it. So I said, Mom, what I said to him a while ago for him call me demon? Yes. And I behave like this. Did I say something wrong? Wasn't this scenario a very practical? And as a matter of fact, that scenario has played out in many congregations over the world. What did I say wrong?
Yes. Many times also, elders, they repent, they come back, or they go to other organizations, other congregations, where they commit the same offense.
You want to touch on the two witness rule?
Yeah. Yes. Bring in Winston on this sore matter.
You know, it's very interesting because one of the things that made me so interested in the Watchtower is there's a habit, and it has been happening for over a century now, of twisting the scriptures. So they use what is called a two-witness rule. The Bible recommends, actually recommends that you have two witnesses to a crime. How many times would a child be molested with two witnesses?
Yes.
Right? So they take the Bible and they apply it, or should I say misapply it in such a way. And what is very interesting is that he was called a demon. No, that is part of the Watchtower psyche. Because they are actually told, they are taught not to exercise independent thinking. Avoid independent thinking, they are told, because it is a tool of Satan.
Yes.
So if you think rationally, as long as your thinking questions what they are taught, then you are obviously an agent of Satan.
So you see the witnesses as a cult?
that word is subjective. You know, I don't even know how you define a cult.
It's a mind control.
But the mind control in that organization, I have not seen in any Christian what do you call
regular standard
regular lines,
Christian.
Right, mainstream Christian
level
churches.
of
As a matter of fact, I'm not even aware of brainwashing in any other Christian denomination. Maybe I don't know much.
Yeah.
But
as far as you know.
I left the Baptist church and became an Adventist.
Yes.
Nobody in the Baptist church
Treat
shunned
that.
me.
Yes, that's true.
We remain very good friends.
friends.
I could go to the Baptist church now,
Yes, of course.
participate in Sunday school, raise my hand and do anything.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't happen.
Yes.
But the Watchtower is so very good at this system of controlling the mind. It is amazing.
And that comes through their teaching on the faithful and discreet slave class.
Right.
So the governing body, the group of 12 men, no woman can serve on the governing body, right? So 12 men. And the witnesses are taught that Jehovah directs those men. And every loyal witness must follow what those men teach.
Yes.
Isn't that the teaching?
Yes. Yes. And that is what I find so interesting. Comes again from a twisting of the scriptures. As a matter of fact, the Watchtower organization has a history of over 100 years of false prophecies.
100 years of false prophecies.
More than 100 years of false prophecies. The world was supposed to end in 1914. And when it was 1914, it became 1915, and then 1925, then 1942, then 1975. And it's been going on and on like this. Where have all these false prophecies come from? Twisting of the scriptures. When the Watchtower put out the teaching in 1920 that millions now living will never die.
You had a book.
Yes,
like that?
it became a book.
Millions now living will never die.
And this came from the word they used was indisputable facts from the Bible.
Analytical evidence.
Right?
Yes.
So they take the Bible, and this is what, and interestingly, when you do not understand the word for yourself, and you hear people applying it for you, you have confidence. And the Watchtower does that. They just keep misapplying the scripture. This doctrine of the faithful and discreet slave came from Jesus' statement in Matthew 25,
yes, right.
45 to 47.
Yes,
a simple question.
Come.
Jesus is simply asking, who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has, appointed? Right.
Yes.
Happy is that servant if when the master returns, he finds him so doing. He will make him ruler over all his goods.
Yes.
The Watchtower says that is a prophecy. That Jesus was saying he was going to appoint a servant to serve food. Spiritual food to all Christians. Yes. And this, they said, happened in AD 33, Pentecost.
Yes.
But if Jehovah's Witnesses would only think, if they could not avoid independent thinking, as they are told, they would see that this doctrine has no foundation whatsoever.
We'll go further into that. This man, Winston Gillen, has spent a lot of time studying the doctrines and the practices of Jehovah's Witnesses. And if you go online and put in Watchtower examination, you will see a number of thoughtful videos exposing what he would consider the errors of Jehovah's Witnesses. We'll look at the Jehovah's Witnesses this evening. We take our final break on Religious Hard Talk. A focus on the organization Jehovah's Witnesses, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, a group that everybody knows about. Witnesses come to our homes. We see them on the streets. They are active. They are very devoted to their religion. They believe that they are the only true church, Jehovah's only channel for truth. But Winston Gillen, the man behind the Watchtower examination website and YouTube channel, he has an entire YouTube channel on the Jehovah's Witnesses exposing their teachings and their practices that are offensive. And this doctrine, Winston, of the faithful and discreet saved class is a doctrine which facilitates abuse, facilitates mind control, facilitates the average witness bypassing independent investigation of the Bible.
Right.
And just following what you tell them.
Right. person who held office in the organization. I'm not remembering his rank just now. But his name is Bart Thompson. He held up a green book and said, you know, if the Watchtower tells me that this book is black, I would have to say, you know, all along I thought it was green. But if the Watchtower says it's black,
yes, it must be.
then it's black.
Yes.
So anything that they are told, it is coming from the faithful and the discreet slave. So a gentleman told me, a good friend of mine, that nothing that the governing body says can be proven wrong.
So a witness told you that?
Yes, a witness told me that.
Nothing can be proven wrong.
No, the average person watching your program, it would be saying, no, what kind of nonsense is that? But for the Jehovah's Witness, that is wisdom, because they are told, as I said, that Jehovah and Jesus trust them completely, trust the governing body
trust them
completely.
They say that completely?
They say that. And so I had the, you know, I do not have the time now to give all the quotes. But if you go to the channel, I don't accuse the Watchtower of anything. I put forward the evidence so people can read it for themselves. They say Jehovah and Jesus trust them completely. And so Jehovah's Witnesses must do the same. So if they say something that makes no sense, you are told, wait on Jehovah. Trust the faithful and the discreet slave.
So if you don't understand it,
if you don't
just
understand it,
ask Jehovah to help you, be patient. Don't go out listen to apostate. Don't watch religious hard talk and go to the Watchtower examination YouTube channel. Just wait on Jehovah.
Right. And what is interesting about it, you know, is that the organization lying is intrinsic in
lying. You go that far, Winston?
Yes, I go that far. The Watchtower in Mexico registered at one time as a cultural organization. Yes, they would not register as a religious organization because the Mexican authorities require that religious organizations do not hold real estate. So just to hold on to real estate, Jehovah's Witnesses were told to say that their meetings are not religious meetings, they are cultural meetings. Their baptisms are a cultural event. They did not use the Bible in public worship.
They didn't pray.
They would not pray.
In Mexico? In
Mexico. Right? No, that is blatant lying. And they just keep lying.
There are other examples of lying?
Oh my, there are so many. Where would I begin? Where would I begin? It is just so many. As a matter of fact, I went to the Kingdom Hall and sat in discomfort as I read a magazine where they were lying to the members. Yes. Russell had in his book, he printed a book in 1889 called The Time is at Hand. And he gave 7 things to expect for 1914, none of which came true. Right.
And 1914 was the time, of course, I said that Christ made his invisible presence.
As a matter of fact, it is stated in the Watchtower in publications that only Jesus' apostles saw him ascend. And similarly, only Jehovah's Witnesses recognize his invisible return.
Invisible return. Jesus
Christ has returned.
Has returned away from 1940.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like insanity to the average person.
Kingdom is ruling.
Right. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that. Right. But just in 2014, I went to the Kingdom Hall.
Yes.
And they were reading that the brothers did not know what to expect. They did not have any expectations. That is a lie. That's a blatant lie. But if Jehovah's Witnesses could think independently, they would have seen it for themselves, because a few paragraphs after, they were disappointed that some of their expectations did not come true. They had no expectations. They did not know what to expect, yet they became disappointed that some of their expectations did not come true. To say some did not come true is to imply that some did.
Yes.
Not one of Russell's predictions came true.
None of it.
Not even one. Right?
There have been myriad false prophecies, documented false prophecies.
Another lie. And they have a history book. Before Raymond Franz wrote his book, the history book was Jehovah's Witnesses in the Divine Purpose.
That's right.
Raymond Franz really exposed some of the lies in that book. And so they revised it to Proclaimers.
Kingdom Proclaimers.
Right, Proclaimers.
Yeah.
Their new history book. That book is also a sanitized version of their history. Right? Russell, and this is an interesting thing, because if Jehovah's Witnesses could question the doctrine of the faithful and discreet slave, they would see that it makes no sense. People may wonder what I mean by faithful and discreet slave. The Bible says, the King James Version, faithful and wise servant.
Yes.
They say faithful and discreet slave, right? No, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, you're saying that
If Jehovah's Witnesses would look at that doctrine, they would see that it has no foundation whatsoever. First of all, it is pretty confusing because they said that Jesus appointed the slave at Pentecost. And then in 1918, Jesus came. He returned in 1914. Now we have him returning in 1918 to inspect the slave to see how well he was doing. Found him to be doing so well that he appointed him over all his belongings in fulfillment of the latter part of what they called a prophecy. So that in 1919, the slave was given the job to feed everybody.
And that slave was Charles Taze Russell, the founder.
In 1919, the slave was Charles Taze Russell.
They were expanded.
Russell died in 1916, but the appointment was made in 1919. How much sense does that make?
Russell died in 16.
Right.
And the appointment made it?
Right. So he
wasn't aware.
So the current teaching is that Rutherford and his associates were the slave. They do not say it in so many words, but it's implied because they say a group of anointed brothers, right? So they were the ones who were taking the lead. So it would be Rutherford who was the slave appointed.
Who was the successor to Russell.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jesus appointed Rutherford, but Rutherford did not know. Rutherford is teaching that Russell is a slave. They taught that for some 30 years. Then the identity of the slave was changed to all the anointed, which is the group of 144,000, because it's a two-group society.
That's right.
You have the anointed and the not anointed.
The great crowd.
Right, the great crowd.
So the 144,000 would be in heaven, and the great crowd would have to settle with the earth.
So, right.
Paradise on earth.
So it's those who are those of the
salvation.
144,000 on earth who were the anointed. So all anointed among Jehovah's Witnesses, after some 30 years of that doctrine, became the slave.
But it was changed again.
But today,
the
slave is the governing body.
Just the governing body alone.
There was no governing body in 1919. So it is pure confusion, and then it doesn't make any sense, because what is dangerous about this doctrine is not just the mind control that it empowers the governing body with, but it's also a blatant lie told on Jesus. Because they said that Jesus chose them over all other churches based on what they were teaching. Some of the things they were teaching in 1918, one of the things is that God would have destroyed Christians by millions, right? Yes. And anybody who escaped would come to the teachings of Russell.
Yes.
Another thing they were teaching is that the war in heaven that is spoken of in Revelation 12 was between pagan and papal Rome, the war in heaven. The Bible speaks about a Leviathan. They said it was a train, a locomotive, right? There are so many prophecies. There, Revelation 16 speaks about 7 angels. They said those 7 angels. This is what was being taught at the time when Jesus is looking on and inspecting the slave, right? That the 7 angels were Russell had a book, a 7-series book called Studies in the Scriptures.
That's right. Yes.
Those were the 7 angels. It sounds ridiculous. No, you're not. No, and Jehovah's Witnesses, if they ever were to examine that, they would see for themselves that there is no way under the heavens that Jesus could have looked at that information and appointed and crowned that.
So your YouTube channel, Watchtower Examination, is where viewers can go to have substantial information, evidence on the Jehovah's Witnesses. And some people have left as a result of your work?
Yes. I've the ministry is really reaching out.
Is reaching out to
Right,
people.
people from all over the world.
All over the world.
Right, mainly UK, US, but all over the world.
All over the world.
I came in contact with this channel not knowing that he was in Jamaica.
He was in Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
And
Very,
you found it impressive.
very impressive.
Wish you all the best. We know that the family relations are not going to improve, certainly not with your parents here on Religious Hard Talk. We do a variety of things on Religious Hard Talk, including exposing religious groups. Next week we'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant evening.